The old city of Knoxville, Tennessee, home to the Sun Sphere and the Smoky Mountains. By the end of Decision Day, it might also be the new home of the 2025 USL League One Players' Shield. Tonight's decisive match between One Knoxville and Greenville Triumph is brought to you by Markman's Diamonds, Knoxville's hometown jeweler. As they enter the final day, a win against Greenville Triumph guarantees One Knox the #1 seed in the playoffs and the first trophy in club history. Chattanooga Red Wolves face off with Westchester at the same time. Westchester last in the table, so keep your eyes on that one. But if One Knox take care of business, they will win the Players' Shield. One man they can certainly count on is Babacar Dieng. Now you might be thinking, we heard he got a red card in the last match, and that is true, but it has been overturned. He scored the game-winning goal against Texoma. You see it right here, a striker's finish. His 9th goal in 29 appearances in the league this season. A couple minutes later, though, he was sent off. He got a yellow card for that first challenge, and then as things kicked off, he got a red card here for a hand to the face, allegedly, of Ozzy Ramos. That was then overturned, and he is back in the starting lineup tonight. A huge boost for Ian Fuller's One Knoxville side. You look at their last 5 games, it's 4 wins and 5 for One Knoxville. They've had stellar form at home. They did drop that one game, though, to Richmond, who are out of the playoffs already. But Ian Fuller called that a wake-up call for his team as he realizes that some of these teams below the playoff line are starting to play them a little bit differently. And one of those teams is Greenville Triumph. They come into this one knowing their fates after a 4-1 defeat against South Georgia Tormenta at home last weekend. The wheels really fell off in a season that Rick Wright has described as uniquely unexplainable. It felt like his team had top 4 or 5 potential, but instead it's a first time in 7 years that we won't see Greenville triumph in the USL League One playoffs. Plenty of talent, though, in this team. Rodrigo Robles is our player to watch for the visitors. He's a player that Rick Wright says is intensely competitive. He's so serious, almost to a fault, and he says that his 5 goals and 5 assists are something he's not even happy with this season, despite the fact that they lead his team. So he'll be a danger for One Knox to keep an eye on as they put a 20-game home unbeaten run on the line at Covenant Health Park with a chance to secure the 2025 Players' Shield. We're back with kickoff right after this.
It's not just a nationwide company that's trying to get your money and then jacking up your prices every other month.
$65 a month, every month, no questions asked.
It's so fast.
So my speeds have quadrupled, actually.
Believe me, you will see the difference.
If you can get KUB fiber in your neighborhood, get it.
10 out of 10, I would recommend it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Covenant Health Park this fortress formed on Rocky Top, where tonight's match is brought to you by Markman's Diamonds, Knoxville's hometown jeweler. Our starting 11s are brought to you by the fastest internet in the world, KUB Fiber. We start with the home side, One Knoxville in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Just one change necessary from their win against Texoma. Stavros Zarokostas, the leading assist man on the season, comes in on the right side, replacing Gio Calixtro. And as mentioned, DN red card has been overturned. He's in the starting lineup. Let's take a look at the visitors. Under Rick Wright, he makes 3 changes from the match against Tormenta last weekend. It's a familiar face up top in Leo Castro, the team's leading goal scorer with 7 in the league this season. Our player to watch, Rodrigo Robles, mans it on the left. And the all-time leader in Greenville appearances, Evan Lee, gets the start in the middle of the park. Zane Bubb suspended for a red card against Texoma. That is a notable change at the back. One Knoxville are 90 minutes away from joining the exclusive club of just 4 active teams to win a USL League One trophy. Of course, Greenville are one of them, taking home the Players' Shield in 2020. A look at the captain, Jordan Skelton, hoping to write his name into history today and lift that Players' Shield. A win, or most likely a draw, will be enough for the home side. But first, they must deal with the doorman, and how fitting is it that Greenville triumph stand guard at the inner sanctum of USL League One. They've been eliminated from the playoffs for the first time ever, but this rare, meaningless match across their club's history comes with a chance to play spoiler on what is perhaps the biggest night in Knoxville professional sports history. We await our simultaneous kickoffs, and we hear that there is a slight pause to add some drama to the proceedings here in Knoxville. They're checking the nets, and those who have been watching all season long may remember that game much earlier this season where it ended up being postponed because of an issue with the goal here at the Cove. We'll hope for no repeat of that, but we are in a slight delay here for kickoff as multiple other games starting simultaneously. Omaha and Spokane underway, Chattanooga and Westchester, Tormenta and Texoma. But Rodrigo Albuquerque gives us the go-ahead. Decision Day is underway on ESPN+. My name is Parker Johnson. So excited to have you with me as we watch all the drama unfold here on Decision Day. Of course, worth keeping an eye on, that match between Chattanooga and Westchester. Chattanooga, the only team that can catch One Knoxville heading into this one, but the math is very simple for One Knox. Win and the Players' Shield is theirs, and of course that comes with home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They haven't lost a game at home here all season. 10 wins, 4 draws in their first 14 as it comes to a conclusion at the Cove. One Knoxville in blue tonight, Greenville in white with the green shorts. A matchup that is played out in some very tense circumstances in the brief history of their rivalry. 3 of the past 6 matches have come in knockout competition. So we have a man down on the near sideline, the Greek attacker, Stavros Zarokostas. Knoxville a bit confused as to why they weren't allowed to keep playing here, but the referee had blown his whistle to address after Tyler Polak came through and made some contact with the knee of Zarokostas. Free kick on the way, and Kempis Tequila over it, trying to find his men in the middle. Saw Jordan Skelton coming forward, this towering Knoxville crew that are so effective from set pieces. Tequila has the quality over a dead ball to put this in a dangerous area, no matter how far out it may be. Second minute of play from Knoxville, swung in towards the back post. Saved by Rankenberg. Alert to the strong effort along the ground, and Greenville able to thwart the first chance for one Knoxville to go in front. "15 wins, 9 draws, just 5 losses on the season for one Knoxville, putting themselves in position to claim the club's first trophy tonight. Jaheim Brown gets his first touch of the ball. He finds the feet of Tequila, and shepherded by Ivan Ajakwa, the rookie for Greenville, who gets the start in midfield as we take another look at that opportunity from Zaro Costas. Very well hit. Richie finds Rosamilia, who will tuck inside here. Ian Fuller named one of his keys to the match when I spoke to him this week for one Knoxville. He said he wants his players to get in their spots early. For Rosamilia, that means tucking inside as he picks the ball up in the pocket, turns on Evan Lee. He's got Ajakwa for company, and he's crowded out as he tried to make the line-breaking pass toward the striker Babacar Dieng. Fuller wants Rosamilia to take up those inside positions alongside Kempes Tequila. Give the opposing midfield that extra man to consider. And if they crowd out the central areas, it gives space for Stuart Ritchie, the left back, to come forward and overlap and create this complex attacking system with multiple options for overloads that Ian Fuller likes to employ. Zaro Costas will stay a little wider on the opposite side. He's had our best chance of the match so far. 2 goals and 6 assists to his name in the league this year. And he's done quite a bit of damage to Greenville Triumph. I mentioned they've played a couple high-stakes matchups. They played twice in the course of a week back in April, once in the league, once in the Open Cup. Both matches hosted by Greenville. And across those 2 games, Stavros Zaro Costas recorded 1 goal and 2 assists as Knoxville won them both, knocking Greenville out of the cup and getting a little bit of revenge, because if you remember, these two also met in the postseason last year in the quarterfinals, where Greenville upended Knoxville 2-1 at home. All-time leading scorer in the series is Leo Castro, who's got 4 goals, and he chases down the Knoxville players from the front. Enough pressure to force a turnover, sent forward by Greenville, and out for a throw. What a job Ian Fuller has done in his first season in charge in Knoxville. He told us that his vision when he took over was to change the trajectory of this club, to give it some new goals, to give it a new playing style. And the results have come already in the table. We knew that chasing a trophy, of course, would be top of the list, but he told me in terms of his goals for this year, they didn't just want to win the Players' Shield, they wanted to win it by multiple points. That is still an outcome that's on the table if Chattanooga don't get a win tonight. But of course, he'd be plenty happy no matter how they take it home. They could also win the league and finish first with a draw. The only scenario in which a draw would not be enough is if Chattanooga win by 5 goals against Westchester. And to give you a sense of how realistic that outcome is, Chattanooga have only won a match by 5 or more goals once in their history. That was back in 2022, a 7-1 win over Charlotte. So in layman's terms, a win or a draw, probably enough for one Knoxville. But they will want to get the job done and do it in style in front of the home fans, who've really embraced this move into downtown, into the old city of Knoxville, Tennessee. A very different feeling at the Cove. It's clipped over the top. Benton racing on. A good ball played low in the direction of Robles. But one Knoxville always in that right position defensively. DN with great work to hold it up. Brings Zaro Costas into the play. One-on-one with Tyler Pollock. Now the Jamaican Jaheim Brown. Off to the Venezuelan Capuzzo, who finds Callum Johnson in midfield. Rosamilia with Richie on the overlap. Cross comes in from Richie. Tequila with the hit. Denied again by Rankenberg, who's been called into action twice in the early going and has not put a glove wrong. The 26-year-old goalkeeper in his 3rd season with Greenville, spreading himself to the left. And it's that creation on the overlap again from Richie. Tequila didn't get great hold of it, but it still forced a good save out of the Greenville goalkeeper. This corner kick is brought to you by Precision Concrete Solutions. As it's flashed in front, the flick connected with Tequila. Once again, Rankenberg forming that red wall in goal. And if this is a sense of how this contest will go for one Knoxville, there could be a party starting in about 80 minutes' time. Look at DJ Benton, Birmingham, Alabama native, starting at right back today for head coach Rick Wright. Early in the season, it was a position owned by Connor Evans, who has since moved into midfield. And he has been one of the standout players for Greenville this year. But remember, DJ Benton played in Knoxville last season, and he'll have that in mind as he takes on his former club. Hard work up against Richie and Rosamilia on the left today. And it's that area he's forced to defend yet again. Lee coming to help close it down, as is Evans. Very little meaningful possession for Greenville in the early going. Ian Fuller said it was critical that one Knoxville did not let Greenville build any confidence in this match. He said that when a team is already eliminated from the playoffs based on his experience as both a coach and as a player, they're a bit like a wounded animal, but they can build in confidence if given the chance. Rosamilia has Zaro Costas! Went for the low shot. Rankenberg with his 3rd save already. Zaro Costas almost looked as if he was undecided between shooting it and playing that back to the back post. Let's get another look. Great find, though, from Rosamilia. DN was at the back post. Will Knoxville regret some of these early opportunities? Johnson in combination with Ritchie, slid away by Benton, and another corner upcoming. This corner kick brought to you by Precision Concrete Solutions, proud members of the East Tennessee community, building together. You can see the sippy football of Ian Fuller's men. It's taken some time to develop, but when this team has had all their players available, the connections they can form across the pitch are truly special, and very few have been able to stop them. Johnson took it short and played it back in, but all the bodies had left the vicinity. So an easy catch for Rankenberg. As Greenville need to take a breath here. Evans out to Benton. Greenville just trying to establish a foothold in this match as Lee drops in possession. Brandon Fricke playing at right center back today without Zane Bubb, suspended for a red card against Tormenta. Got 2 yellows. And you see Anthony Patty here on the ball. The other center back, he took a mighty whack in the head. But Rick Wright said he got stitched up and he didn't miss a minute of training this week. He's 100% and ready to go. However, Zeke Soto also had a head injury in that match. He was in concussion protocol and he did not make it for this one. So a couple pieces missing for Greenville. And we see the familiar faces of this Triumph club over the years. One of those, Tyler Pollock, who will consider an in-swinging delivery. A little different offering from Connor Evans. Get ready for all the exciting postseason action as the USL playoffs presented by Terminix kick off in November. The top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLLeague1.com for all the latest playoff information. Triumph trying to strike a counter punch. Great ball from Evans, but it's over the run of Ajakwa. Slightly overcooked. As we get a look at Jaheim Brown, a player who was announced today by the Scruffs, the supporters group of One Knoxville, as their player of the season. He has been just ever present since joining from Waterhouse FC in the Jamaican Premier League. He's made 33 appearances for One Knoxville this season, which brings him to 50 total appearances over the past calendar year, because he was playing in the Jamaican Premier League last fall and into the winter before he signed here in Knoxville. And he's come in, and Ian Fuller says he has such a big future, said he was a major coup in the offseason. To give you a sense of how those supporters feel about the job he's done and the presence he's brought to One Knox. These were the other 3 candidates for that Player of the Season award. As we look at this ball over the top, Polak couldn't keep his feet, but he does enough to recover and push Zaro Costas back. The other candidates were this man, Jordan Skelton, Sean Lewis, and leading scorer Babacar Dien. Talking about all USL first team type players. Brown above the rest. Likewise, it's Robles coming the other way for Greenville. Defended well by Skelton. First sniff at goal for the Spaniard up front for Greenville Triumph. You'd imagine that the best opportunities may come his way for the visitors. As Michael Rodriguez goes down to win the free kick. Michael Gonzalez, pardon it. Just his second start of the season. He has appeared, though, in 17 matches. Has not scored in the league for Greenville, with most of those appearances coming off the bench. Sievert Haugli playing it safe. But it will give a throw for Greenville. The unique part of this stadium is that touchline on the far side is a little tighter, so it's hard to get those long throws into the box with the boards a little closer to the paint. See what Benton can conjure up. He's sending some numbers forward. I know one Knoxville liked the long throw, and Benton trying to give him a dose of their own medicine. Hurled in, flick to the near post. Ajakwa rises. It falls. And Gonzalez did not get a sweet connection. Jeers from the scruffs behind that Knoxville goal. And the chance goes begging for Greenville triumph. But you see the idea from the long throw. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the Academy to the big leagues, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Castro looking for help. Robles arriving. The defensive cover from Caputo springs Knoxville in transition. Tequila grounded out on a well-timed step by Anthony Patty. Back and forth we go. Greenville looking much more lively as it's entered into the box for Castro. It will be a throw deep in enemy territory. Castro with his first touches inside the 18-yard box. Always a sign of danger for any opponent. He's tied for 9th all-time in terms of the USL League One goal-scoring charts, but those 27 goals in league play pale in comparison to his 94 across his entire pro career. He's done it in Colombia, South Africa, among other places. Headed out by Skelton. Robles, Gonzalez, juggling act from the Triumph now. Castro. DN played over the top. Zaro Costas is onside, and he's got Tequila in the middle, waiting for service. Down goes Ajakwa to win it back. These are the moments where Knoxville has to be careful. Robles slices inside. Gonzalez with a dance. Ajakwa for support. Good ball in. Haugli heads. Rosamilia diligently playing it out. Tequila nicely done by one Knoxville as they move forward. It's like a basketball game at the moment. Back post ball looking for Zaro Costas. I think Tequila knew he was offside and didn't challenge for that ball. So one Knoxville at least able to win the throw here, which Richie can take quickly for Callum Johnson. Well, after Knoxville were able to camp in Greenville territory for the opening 8 to 10 minutes of this one, this next phase has really opened up. Chances coming both ways. And how could we really expect anything less? Greenville, a team with so much pride. Down the years, it doesn't matter that they're eliminated here. The fact of the matter is, these are players playing for their next contract. They're auditioning for next season, as Rick Wright told me that he's been jotting in a little notebook his thoughts on next season. And for him, missing the playoffs means a 2-week head start in terms of forming his team for next year. You can be sure that some of these performances tonight will end up in that little notebook. Wright was down in Miami this week, scouting some potential targets. And he said that when he returned, reports had been great about the level in training. Block from Fricky. Tequila on multiple occasions has popped up with that late run in the box. We see it again on the ball in from Richie. Fricky well placed as ever. He leads this team in blocks. Never afraid to throw his body on the line. So more than halfway through the first half of action. Brown coming forward as Knoxville just need a win to guarantee the 2025 Players' Shields, their first trophy in club history. A draw is also most likely enough, unless Chattanooga Red Wolves earn a 5-goal win over Westchester. We will, of course, be following all those other games as things roll on, but we're glad that you have tuned in for us tonight. Our chance to witness some history here in the Old City. A great crowd on hand for a 59-degree night. Knoxville, Tennessee. It's actually a youth soccer tournament in town this weekend, and Rick Wright was excited about the fact that on top of this being his team's first visit to Covenant Health Park, there are actually some youth teams from Greenville who are in town for the tournament that will bring a little bit of boisterous support. But of course, the crowd heavily tilted in favor of One Knox as they filed in and did their march to the stadium through the Old City. Zoro Costas closed down by Tyler Polak. Corner coming for One Knoxville. This corner kick is brought to you by Precision Concrete Solutions, proud members of the East Tennessee community, building together. Been able to generate some shots on goal from their first couple of corner kicks. And Tequila hidden by the outfield wall as he crafts up another service. Too close to Rankenberg. Easy pickings for the Greenville goalkeeper, who has had a fine first half so far. He has truly been the reason that this game is still 0-0. Gonzalez a little too physical with the Knoxville defender. Eager to get on the end of the punt from Rankenberg. He and Robles providing the legs either side of the central piece, Leo Castro and Rick Wright's team tonight. It'll be Evan Lee and Connor Evans supporting from midfield as Ajakwa holds things down in the middle in a more defensive role. Greenville up for the fight. One Knoxville playing this measured. Richie afforded far too much space. Easy pass into Rosamilia. He returns it out wide to Johnson. Cross blocked. Chased down, though, by Capuzzo. Now Robles can stretch his legs. Evan Lee on the move. Castro! And it can take some funny hops here on the infield grass, but Sean Lewis knows them very well. 9 clean sheets already this season in 23 appearances. Steady hands from the 33-year-old goalkeeper. He's got a chance to win the Golden Glove, depending how things go in some of our other matches. Carlos Morancio and Jason Smith of Spokane and Chattanooga, respectively, are both a decimal point ahead of him in terms of the goals against average. But if he keeps a clean sheet in this one, he'll have a chance, if those two concede some goals, to win his 2nd straight Golden Glove, and he's been a huge part of Knoxville's continued success. Greenville trying to push him yet again. Stuck under the feet of Robles. DN, a one-man transition as he's dragged back by Evan Lee, who knew exactly what he was doing, and receives a yellow card for his troubles. Today he makes his league-leading 173rd appearance in USL League One. He's been enough of these situations. He's seen talented strikers such as Babacar DN come and go. And he knows that as soon as you see the number on the back of his jersey, you could be in big trouble. So he decides to take the necessary action. And here on the final day of the season, there is a bigger picture question on when this Greenville generation will move on. The guys like Tyler Pollock and Evan Lee, who have been around since the very beginning. They defend here. The ball from Tequila. And a foul whistled coming out for Greenville. Look at Lee, 31 years old. Pollock, 33. Castro, 36. Could be some difficult decisions in the offseason. Guys who are already solidified as League One legends. Top of the record books. They've won trophies with Greenville. But it feels like an inflection point for this club. Rick Wright said he's very excited about the future. They've brought in some new blood, both players and staff, as they get set to open a new stadium in Malden, South Carolina next year that will host them and Greenville Liberty. Let's get another look at the foul. Just a clash between goalkeeper and his own man, with Ajakwa and Skelton both had their eyes trained on the ball. And there is Mr. Wright. In his 7th year with Greenville, he is one of the originals as well. It is just his 2nd full season as head coach, but was an assistant for those glory years, and he pushed back against the idea that other clubs have taken that spot at the top of the league away from Greenville, with them missing the playoffs this year. He feels like this is merely a blip, and he saw a silver lining in the fact that their playoff streak did last this long. He said it was always going to come to an end. Even Manchester United have been relegated once upon a time. So good teams go through tough patches, but he fully expects to be back in the contender category next year, recharging from the offseason. With a new stadium and some new expansion sides coming to USL League One, it'll be a much different landscape. But their vision as a club is to stay at the forefront as this league continues to grow. Flicked over the top for Robles. Neat football from Greenville. Still alive for Gonzalez. Checking in, swinging, headed off Skelton. A few meters away from an own goal, but it'll go down as good defending from the Knoxville captain. Roll that beautiful bean footage as we take a look at the Bush's best replay. Skelton always first to those balls in the air. He'll have another one to defend as Pollock takes the corner quickly. Lifted in. Fricky draws the deflection, and he's frustrated that he didn't get a more potent effort on goal. But another corner coming up for Greenville. This corner kick brought to you by Precision Concrete Solutions, proud members of the East Tennessee community, building together. They'll fake the short one and then, in fact, go to it. This time it's played to the edge of the area. Oncoming Benton. Flung into the box. Castro. Ajakwa. DN with the defensive work. Lee forced back by Zara Costas as Greenville have to reset. Knoxville so stingy, especially here at home. Have not been beaten all season. Evan Lee with a nice idea, looking for Robles on the far side. And one Knoxville will try to take advantage of the space that he vacated. A huge collision between Benton and Ritchie, but both quickly back to their feet. Lee demanding the ball in possession. He's been at the controls and looking as smooth as ever. Given away to Tequila. And our referee waves no handball as Robles came through to win it back. So just about 10 minutes left in the first half, and Knoxville unable to capitalize on a series of early chances as Greenville have continued to grow into this match. Kept level at 0 by some saves from Gunther Rankenberg. Keeping an eye on the scores around the league here. Give you an update after this potential Greenville attack. Pollock. Trip from behind, goes down, free kick Greenville. Chattanooga tied with Westchester, which is the match of most importance to the Knoxville faithful. If Chattanooga fail to win that match, then Knoxville will win the Players' Shield, even if they lose to Greenville. So keep an eye there. There is, of course, that battle for 4th place going on as well, as Omaha tied with Spokane. Omaha, the front runners for 4th position coming into Decision Day. And wow, Richmond Kickers a 5-1 lead in the Hennessy Derby at home against Madison. First 2 games finished 1-0, or finishing 1-goal wins for Madison this year. So a little fight back from the Kickers to eliminate Madison from playoff contention. But we keep our focus here as Evans puts 2 hands up. In-swinging ball, always headed in Lewis's direction. Fricky has stayed down here, and Sievert Haugley sportingly calling the referee's attention so that the Greenville captain can get some attention. Rick Wright said that Brandon Fricky is as honest as the day is long, a player who what you see is what you get, and a stalwart of success in Greenville. He's got another year on his contract, and Rick Wright believes that he will be back, as it's hard to see exactly what happened there, but clutching his right leg. Fricky had to move over to the right center back position for this one with Zane Bubb suspended. He's been playing on the left side of either a pair of center backs or a back three this season. And Rick Wright said that he could see in training that Fricky being on his stronger side allowed him to do some things they hadn't seen. They have seen Zaragoza get into some very threatening positions in the first half, but unable to make any of them count. I'd say, for my money, he had the best chance of our first 37 minutes when he got the ball in from Rosamilia and had it saved by Rankenberg. Castro able to beat the first man, has the run from Robles, first time hit. Skelton stuck to him and forces the corner kick. It's all about the control and the turn from Castro. It was always going to be tough for Robles from that angle, but he knew he had to hit it first time to have a shot. And Skelton knew it just as well. Pollock, high, back post ball. DN first to the header. Capuzzo with trouble controlling it. And that walks himself right into a free kick decision. The loose touch proving costly and setting up another set piece for Greenville. Let's take a look at that again. Roll that beautiful bean footage. One that Capuzzo will not want to see again. And he caught the top of Pollock's shoe. A clear foul to set up this free kick. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats. When Knoxville know they'll have a home playoff game, and the assumption around town is that the attendance will spike because they have been in this situation before back in 2022 when they won the league won their division rather in USL League Two, and their playoff run saw a massive bump in attendance as the fans got behind the postseason soccer. Robles with the low ball. Skelton heads it away. Brown locked in defensively. And he's got help from Capuzzo. The grittiness, the teamwork from One Knoxville defensively. Trying not to give Greenville an inch. It's a clear shove though. Connor Evans whistled for the foul. Rosamilia going down. So we are under 5 minutes plus stoppage time until the halftime break. Here's what the stats say to this point. A very even match. 5 shots apiece. Knoxville have put 4 on target, generating 0.6 expected goals. Greenville just putting 1 of their efforts on frame, enough for 0.35 expected goals. And while Knoxville have been more dangerous, all those shots on target have been saved by Rankenberg, who has definitely been the standout player of the first half in the Greenville net. Decision day here on ESPN Plus, and One Knoxville just needing a win most likely a draw would also be enough to earn the Players' Shield in 2025. And just as importantly, it would give them home field advantage for the entirety of the USL League One playoffs as they ride a 20-match unbeaten run at home in the league. 10 wins, 4 draws at home in the league this season. They did face defeat in the Jägermeister Cup once. But in terms of USL League One opponents, only 4 teams have been able to take points off Knoxville at home: Westchester, Naples, Charlotte, and Madison. Greenville trying to add their name to that list and spark a stunning upset on the final day. Knoxville head coach Ian Fuller was very well aware of the fact that it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season, even if those matches earlier on came at the beginning of the year when the teams looked quite different, the league looked quite different. Back-to-back wins for Knoxville in League One play and in the Open Cup. Greenville holding firm so far. Castro turns and hits it. Worth a pop, but no real threat to Sean Lewis's net. Zaragoza's getting the better of Polak again. Tequila looking for a window to shoot. Passes off to Richie. Rosamilia swung in. Dien's header. And the defending putting just enough pressure on the Senegalese striker as he heads it over the bar. Roll that beautiful bean footage. It was Polak who was giving up quite a bit of height to the 6'5" Dien. But just proving for the kids watching out there at home, you can still do enough to put off a striker in that position. No matter how tall you are, getting your body in the right position often enough to make life difficult on the opposing forward. And now Polak motoring into the attack. Gonzalez off Knoxville last as we enter 1 minute of first half stoppage time. Gonzalez gets free of his man, can't connect with Robles. Lee with the 1-2. Oh my, Greenville with a flowing move as Lee's locks bouncing toward Sean Lewis's goal. The final connection just misfiring. Look at this sequence. Knoxville standing flat-footed. They bopped it right around the edge of the penalty area. Tell you what, Evan Lee has been up for this match. No player has won more games in USL League One history than his 77. Zaro Costas dicing, dangerous tackle from Patty. And they say he's won it cleanly. Halftime at the Cove. No whistle for Zaro Costas, and the frustration continues into the locker room as we hit halfway in our decision day fixture from Knoxville. 0-0 our halftime score. Plenty of chances for the home side, And as things stand, they still sit top of the pile, but 45 more minutes of drama to unfold. And our halftime show, presented by Realty Executives, coming up after this short break.
Gig speed internet from the big guys, gig speed internet from KUB Fiber. What's the difference? Ours is truly gig speed. Do a speed check and see if you're getting what you pay for. Then make the switch to KUB Fiber.
We welcome you back for halftime here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Halftime brought to you by Realty Executives, and our score at the break, 0-0, as one Knoxville closing in on the 2025 USL League One Players' Shields. Let's take a look around USL League One at some standout performances from last week, starting with our goal of the week.
Obregon on the free kick. Obregon, oh my goodness! Number 17 on the season is a stunner! This is now Reed Steven. Over the wall and punched over goal.
So a nice moment there for Greenville in that 4-1 defeat as Frankenberg came away with save of the week, but it was Knoxville goalkeeper Sean Lewis earning the nod in the team of the week. Campus Tequila joining him as well. And of course, the man up top, Juan Carlos Obregon, after scoring that brilliant free kick. He is the player of the week, presented by eFootball. Juan Carlos Obregon, he just missed out on the Golden Boot last year. And this time around, 17 goals on the season. His 17th was a stunner. He hasn't scored in the first half against Chattanooga, but he is our player of the week.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
Pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
Bet on me. Tell them this like it.
Enough to put Portland into the postseason.
Reaches to the whistle. It ends.
Blew my mind away.
It's not just a nationwide company that's trying to get your money and then jacking up your prices every other month.
$65 a month, every month, no questions asked.
It's so fast.
So my speeds have quadrupled, actually.
Believe me, you will see the difference.
If you can get KUB fiber in your neighborhood, get it.
10 out of 10, I would recommend it.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on Decision Day, our halftime show brought to you by Realty Executives as One Knoxville with a 0-0 first half against Greenville triumph. But let's take a look around what else is going on right now in USL League One. We have 4 other matches kicking off simultaneously that are all at halftime. We'll see those in a moment as we take a look at our news and notes from the week. Portland set the League One attendance record on Tuesday in that huge win against Spokane, which actually broke One Knoxville's record from earlier this season. Fort Wayne FC coming next season, and they unveiled their new crest ahead of the 2026 debut. And the new kids, man, they are doing pretty well. Naples and Portland becoming the 4th and 5th expansion teams to clinch a postseason berth in their first season. Let's take a look at the live standings in USL League One. These are updated to the minute with the one game earlier, AV Alta drawing with Portland Hearts of Pine, which takes Portland out of contention for a home game as things stand and leaves AV Alta below the playoff line. Charlotte Independence, they need to pick up a win. They're tied 0-0 at halftime against FC Naples, but a win would secure their playoff spot in that 8th and final position. Union Omaha up at halftime as well against Spokane, and they are now in control of that 4th and final home playoff game with that number 4 seed. So here's an easier way to look at it. The scores from the day. I mean, that standout result there, top right, Henny Darby. Richmond Kickers already eliminated from the postseason, vanquishing the hopes of their bitter rivals Forward Madison with a 5-1 scoreline. Pair of goals from Neil Seufert in that match. One from the 3-time MVP Emiliano Terzaghi. And, of course, that one that we're going to keep our eyes on throughout the second half. Chattanooga tied 1-1 with Westchester. A huge result as things stand for One Knoxville. Be back for the second half right after this.
Fiber internet from the big guys, fiber internet from KUB. What's the difference? No fine print. Get true gig speed internet for just $65 a month. No contracts, no slowdowns, no disclaimers. KUB Fiber.
Welcome back, everyone. Just moments away from second half kickoff between One Knoxville and Greenville Triumph, but this is our opportunity to take a look back at the first 45. It's 0-0 on the scoreboard, but One Knoxville are really going to regret some of their early opportunities in this match. They came in with the intention of making Greenville feel them. That's what Ian Fuller emphasized heading into this decisive match. And they were able to do that early on, but denied by a save from Rankenberg and a touch off the post there. Early going, that was Zaro Costas with the hit. And then the chances kept coming for One Knoxville. Kempis Tequila came close, didn't make the best contact as Rankenberg racked up another save just a minute later on the ensuing throw-in after a corner kick. They tossed it in and got another chance for Tequila right on the edge of the 6-yard box, but it goes begging as well. 12th minute, perhaps the biggest chance of them all. Zaro Costas caught between a shot and a cross. In the end, that one sent away by Rankenberg. Leo Castro crafted up a couple of opportunities into the 45th minute. The last chance of the half fell to One Knoxville, but DN headed over the bar. At the half, this is what the stats look like, presented by Realty Executives. 6 shots apiece. One Knoxville been a little bit more effective. They put 4 on target. They held 52% of the possession, pretty much in line with their season numbers, and a story of wasted opportunities for Greenville, which has been the case all year long. In terms of expected goals, they've created the 6th most in the league this year, and yet they find themselves below the playoff line because they've only turned 14 shots a game into goals 9% of the time. That conversion rate, worst in the league. They did have the 1 yellow card in the first half. That was Evan Lee, so that's something worth keeping an eye on as the second half progresses. A clean slate for One Knoxville, who are still, as things stand, unbeaten at home in the league this season. They could become the first team all year, or rather the first team in league history to go an entire full campaign unbeaten at home in the league. And we are going to send you to the experience presented by Himador.
Great to win against an MLS team, but we'll do that any Wednesday, any Saturday.
It's our house. No one comes into our house and beats us.
If you're against us, it's not going to be good for you. But if you're with us, it's the greatest day you ever had.
The Kings of Chaos strike again.
They create such a loud environment, flags waving, chants.
When the team plays, it's like we're going to the battle with them. It's always sort of that New Mexico underdog story, just waiting to happen.
Best atmospheres in USL League One here at Covenant Health Park. Can hold up to 6,300. They sold it out back in April for the home opener. That stood as the record for most fans to attend a USL League One venue up until Tuesday when Portland broke that record at Fitzpatrick Stadium. But One Knoxville will get the chance to host a playoff game and potentially snatch that back. As things stand, they are still first in the table, courtesy of the draw between Chattanooga and Westchester. So 45 minutes from now, Knoxville could lift their first trophy in club history. Player Shield on the line here in the second half as our race to the playoffs continues, presented by Terminix. My name is Parker Johnson. So happy that you've joined us this evening on ESPN Plus. Whether we are your first screen, your second screen, your third screen, listen, I won't judge. That's how I operate at home. In any case, we are just glad to have you as we wrap this season up, one that has already made history in many ways for One Knoxville. Just trying to get that final piece of silverware to stick in the trophy cabinet and head into the playoffs with momentum. It was interesting speaking to Greenville head coach Rick Wright this week, because he pointed out that most teams end the seaon on a loss. And Greenville Triumph have the rare opportunity to be one of the teams outside of the league champion who ends the season on a win. So they are taking a very positive mindset into this one. They had some good moments in the first half. And likewise, won Knoxville, even though they know that a draw and even potentially a loss could still find them holding the Players' Shield at the end of this one. They are hoping to continue their own momentum as they head into the postseason. If they can start this half like they did the first, things will go well. It's Zaro Costas. Can't beat the first man with his cross. Shot from Johnson, parried away by Rankenberg. And they duplicate the opening phase of the first half. It's one Knoxville able to force Rankenberg into an early save. That's his 5th of the match. So Mikey Gonzalez tracks it down. He's been in some fun battles with Jaheim Brown, who is stuck to his task very well against Gonzalez and Robles tonight. Another look at the strike as we roll that beautiful bean footage. Skelton, a man with ties to the Greenville area. Rick Wright, Greenville coach, first met him when he played collegiately at Lander University, Division II school, where he was an All-American, made his way through what at that time was the PDL, now USL League Two, before getting seen in USL League One and becoming one of the best defenders this division has ever laid eyes on. Fricky is another man in that category. He's making his case to Rodrigo Albuquerque, our head official. First, you have to determine, was that a handball? Hand very much against the defender's body, in my view of that play, but the assistant on the far touchline definitely had a better look at it. The second thing to consider, was it inside the penalty box? It was very, very close, and if that action occurs on or over the plane of that white stripe, it would be considered a penalty. The line is part of the box, but the judgment is that it was just outside the 18. Kempis Tequila with a chance to cross or shoot here. Tequila whips it. A valiant header from Patty, a man who got 2 stitches on his brow after the last match, and he sticks his nose right in the danger again. Free kicks from that angle are so difficult to deal with for defenders and goalkeepers. Tequila just tried to hit it as hard as he could on the frame. Good defending from Patty to get in the way. Been some shifts along the back line for Greenville, with Zane Bubb suspended for this final match after picking up a red card against Tormenta rather. Play continues for Greenville. Robles. Polak. Connor Evans checking in. Strikes it low off the foot of Haugley. So again, we follow the pattern of the first half. Early chance for Knoxville. Greenville taking a little time, but working their way back into the action. Push in the back there from DJ Benton. Wasn't a ton in it, but hard to ignore for a referee. Dien. Zaro Costas falling over the end line. Who got the last touch here? Looks like Patty was able to stay out of the way, so a goal kick coming. So question whether Zaro Costas may have been offside anyway. So we roll that beautiful bean footage on our Bush's Best replay. Skelton in an advanced position. Leaves it off for Zaro Costas, who does his work up the side and off of Pollock for a corner. This corner kick is brought to you by Precision Concrete Solutions, proud members of the East Tennessee community, building together. Three assists on the year for Kempes Tequila, native of Easterlohn, Germany. Last season's player of the year for one Knoxville. His cross rejected by Connor Evans, and Caputo unable to keep it in Knoxville's possession. So reinforcements beginning to stretch their legs behind the boards for one Knox. Saw Angelo Kelly back there. Donnie Fernandez, one of the Knoxville originals. Over the top now for Evans. Richie was alert to the run. Richie, one of the few players in this Knoxville side who has seen success in his pro career. Ian Fuller addressed the team earlier this week, and he asked them, how many of you guys have won a trophy? He said only about a quarter of the room was able to raise their hand for that question. Stuart Ritchie winning the 2022 Players' Shield with Richmond Kickers. Moved on to Columbus Crew 2 in Next Pro. Won Next Pro Cup with them the next season, and then returned to USL League One, where he's become a fan favorite in Knoxville, certainly one of the best left backs in the league. A division that is full of them. Benton with a sharp challenge. Couldn't track it down. Jaqua bodying off blue shirts. There's men over on the far side for Greenville. Evans trying to pick it out. The header back from Brown, safely into the hands of Sean Lewis. Johnson wants the long ball. And Greenville can let it roll. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Evans has options to his left. Low ball to pick out Gonzalez. 56th minute, it's the triumphant attack. Gonzalez curls. Haugley got in the way. Gonzalez returns another cross. Haugley yet again. Benton into Castro, and his touch let him down. Greenville pelting crosses at the Knoxville back line. But the boys in blue repelling every last one. This time they take it back post. Evans flashing across. Castro trying to crash the net instead of hanging back towards the penalty spot, which is where Evans put it. The pressure mounting. Let's take a look at that again. Roll that beautiful bean footage as Mikey Gonzalez looking for goal himself on the first attempt of that sequence. Then he hangs in the cross. And Sievert Haugley covers so much ground. They defend a long throw now from Benton. Haugley flicks it backwards. Gonzalez on the spin, never able to get his hips around it.
He was saying that he didn't think that Greenville would score. His best English and Spanish is that they suck.
A reminder that a win here guarantees one Knoxville the #1 spot in the final table, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. A draw will most likely be enough for them to secure the Players' Shield as well. It will be presented after the match. Should Knoxville bring it home, there is an outside chance that Chattanooga Red Wolves could win the Shields. But they're going to need another goal against Westchester. They were tied 1-1 at halftime. Still awaiting updates there in the second half, but the only way for them to possibly come away with the Shield at the end of the evening is for them to at least beat Westchester. If this scoreline holds, Chattanooga would need a 5-goal win against the bottom of the table expansion team in Westchester in order to make up the goal difference that Knoxville has built up. You look back to October 1st, a critical day in the USL League One title race when Chattanooga came here to Covenant Health Park and Knoxville ground out a 2-0 win to give themselves that little advantage at the top of the table. They were worried that a slip up on the road against Richmond might have cost them, but Chattanooga also dropped some points along the way. And Knoxville came into this game 2 points clear at the top. A goal would put them in firm control. Zaro Costas can't pick out a teammate. The runs were not where he wanted them. Credit to Gunther Rankenberg, keeping Knoxville out on a handful of occasions, but outside of that early flurry in the first half, it's been a relatively uninspiring performance from the home side as Johnson takes his shot from deep. One that illustrates the growing frustration, if anything. He had a chance maybe to play in DN. Hard to tell if he had stayed onside, but we will see our first substitution of the match as Abel Caputo departs and Angelo Kelly comes into the match for one Knoxville. A vice captain, Honduran by heritage, comes out of Iowa. A second team all USL League One selection. Knoxville's first season in 2023. He's had a more reduced role this year, but that speaks to the quality that Ian Fuller and co have brought in And he will play a big 30 minutes as Knoxville try to close in on the players' shields. Naturally, he is a slightly more attacking presence than Abel Caputo. So we'll see if that changes the dynamic at all in midfield for Knoxville. Mikey Gonzalez off to Evan Lee, first time strike. And Kelly's first action is a critical block. Ajakwa edge of the area. It's his midfield partner Johnson who thwarts that one. Fricky has a hit. Greenville not done yet. Triumph for playing this one without one of their most important pieces in midfields. Chapa Herrera held out due to a glute injury. He is starting his recovery as their offseason begins after this match. And it's an area of the pitch you would have expected Knoxville to have a little bit more control, given that Greenville's fierce leader in there was not available for this match. What a performance from Evan Lee so far. Ajakwa alongside him, a formidable base in midfield with Connor Evans scheming ahead of them. And all of Knoxville's chances really have come from out wide, especially Zaro Costas making inroads. Richie on the opposite side. But Kelly here trying to pick some pockets. Craft away through the middle. Knoxville growing patient. And they play it over the top, easily dealt with by Greenville. Rankenberg happy to send it skyward. Lee. Gonzalez early cross. Evans arrives. A half step late. He made contact but couldn't keep it square enough. Decision to cross it early was a wise one from Gonzalez. He's had the experience of getting past his man and going to the end line. Every time he's done that, when he sends in the cross and Knoxville's back line have time to get back, those big bodies in the middle have been first to every ball. So trying to hit while they were still running back towards their own goal. You can see the idea. Evans couldn't catch up to it. Dian lets it bounce. Brings in Rosamilia, but a loose touch. Behind for a goal kick. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. The interception from Tequila. Left his native Germany, seeking to become a star. A 20-goal scorer in the Luxembourg top flight as he followed an old coach over there. That's where he caught Knoxville's eye. And the chance to live the American life, be the most important player on a team, really appealed to Tequila. He has not disappointed since he arrived. Tequila now the club's all-time leading goal scorer, as Castro had Evans free, but his ball in a little too close to Siebert Haugli, who closed the space very well. They will need Evans to keep making runs like that. Somebody has to stretch that back line. Castro more of a hold-up player in the middle. Robles has been quiet. We'll see what he can come up with from the corner flag. Polak took a couple of them short in the first half. He'll do so again. Forced back to his feet. Maybe a little quicker than he wanted. Wasn't able to dig out the cross, so it's all the way back to Benton. Mikey Gonzalez connects with Castro. Back to goal. Right where he's comfortable. Gonzalez wants to run at DN. Swings it in. Back post Evans. Loosely off his thigh. Robles had half a mind to go down looking for the penalty, but nobody was buying it. And he couldn't catch up with it. Rosamilia doing enough defensively. But one Knoxville playing with fire right now. If they concede to Greenville and Chattanooga are able to break the deadlock against Westchester, they could see the Players' Shield slip out of their hands. They need to take care of business here at home, where they haven't lost all season. Stuart Ritchie has DN on the outside. Pass Brandon Fricke. Babacar DN! That was nearly the moment. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Rankenberg left enough space at the near post. DN knew it. He gives snake eyes in the direction of Tequila, but he was always going for that rooftop finish. So that brings up our substitution for Rick Wright. Greenville going to the bench to pull out Carlos Anguiano. He replaces Evan Lee, who recently made his 200th appearance for the club. Anguiano makes his 14th appearance of the season. The other sub in attack brings on Siobhan Marsh. Man known as Messi during his time playing in Jamaica for the famous Cavalier FC. Small and left-footed. And very, very dangerous. Rosamilia stabs one in. Diaz at the back post! Flash the lights! Knoxville won in front. And they've got one hand on the USL Players' Shield. DN with his 10th tally in the league this season. A brilliant ball in as Rosamilia able to get past Brandon Fricke first, then Benton, roll that beautiful bean footage. Deanne with the glancing header. And that just might be enough to take a title to Rocky Top. They prepared for this match thinking that Babacar Dieng might not be available after his red card against Texoma. It was overturned, and Ian Fuller got his main man back in the lineup. He struck the post just moments before, and that was the warning shot before he bangs in the header. And we had a change from Ian Fuller as we watched the celebrations. Mikael Guling, the first-year pro, coming in to replace Kempes Tequila. Fresh legs, a combative dual winner who will play as the number 10 and help Knoxville see out this result. Still got a bit of tech as well. And that ball stayed in play. Zaracosta's tumbling to the turf. It bounces off of his heel as he begged for the decision from the assistant referee. But play continues for Greenville. So the Triumph making some attacking switches. Siobhan Marsh into the game. Guling on to help defend for Knoxville. But the fact of the matter now is that Knoxville have a margin for error to work with. Greenville really need 2 goals to put the Players' Shield in any kind of jeopardy, because as far as we know, Chattanooga still tied with Westchester. Yellow card for Patty. So even if this result wound up as a draw and Greenville get 1 goal back, the likelihood of Chattanooga turning their game into a 5-goal victory seemed very slim at this point. So my correction, it was Ajakwa who received the yellow as he tripped Zarocostas in transition. 15 minutes to go. And this is right where Knoxville won it. Took longer than they would have liked to break through. Heading into the playoffs, hard to name a striker who will strike more fear in the hearts of opponents than Babacar Dieng at the moment. That is his 5th goal in the last 7 matches, including tonight. He's also got 3 assists in that span. Such a handful. Someone who only managed 1 goal in his time in USL Championship and 25 appearances last year for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. But man, has he found a home in Knoxville. Leg swept through by Tyler Pollock. That is a hefty yellow card. Zarocostas has taken some hits this evening. Right in front of Ian Fuller. Not well pleased with the challenge from the League One veteran, but Zaragoza's happy enough to slap 5. Enter the Prince Steyer's Family Game Day Kit Sweepstakes for a chance to win a free prize pack worth up to $4,000. Scan the QR code on screen to enter today. Into the corner for Zaragoza. Maybe a bit early for that, but again, Knoxville know what they need here. But we do have a development down the road in Chattanooga. The Red Wolves have taken a 2-1 lead over Westchester. For that to mean anything, Knoxville would have to lose their grip completely on this game. Unless Chattanooga score 4 more goals, then a 1-0 victory for Knoxville will be enough to lift the players' shields. And even if they end up drawing this match, they would still be atop the table. But Chattanooga adding just a little bit of jeopardy. About 15 minutes to go in both games. We'll keep you posted on that. Swept over from Haugley. Castro with the pressure, trying to force a mistake from Knoxville. They're going to make the safe decision at every possible juncture. They've already brought on Goulding for some more security. See if they make any more switches. You can see the Greenville player getting ready on the sidelines as well. The tempo of this match slowing down perfectly in Knoxville's favor. Ciro Pompa-Mensah and Ben Zakowski finishing up their final touches to come on for the last 10 minutes. A couple of attacking changes for Rick Wright. Poor pass out of the back. Fricky's able to get away with it, but Patty down for the count. So the referee is going to have to stop the game here for the Brazilian-American center back to get some attention. It's really come on strong at the end of the year. Anthony Patty has been playing mostly at left back, plays center back as well. The rare left-footed defender struggling with his favored leg after this rough tackle. He got all ball. But maybe a little bit of a follow through or an awkward landing in the grass. Already has that wrap on his left knee. Stitches on his brow. Imagine the offseason will be some welcome respite for the hard-nosed defender. Ajakwa in possession. Can the Triumph churn up some jeopardy? Not with that attack, but they're able to earn a corner kick. Connor Evans, one of the best dead ball creators in the league. And we will get our switches before the corner is taken. Ropapa Mensah on an attack. He replaces Rodrigo Robles, and Ben Zakowski carrying the tactical instructions, it appears. He's going to come on for Tyler Pollock, so that will introduce a change in shape. That's a forward on for a defender. Greenville may be going to 3 in the back here. Hey, they got nothing to lose at this point. Already eliminated for the playoffs. Why not roll the dice? Try to take a trophy away from one Knoxville. Try to become the first team to win here all season in league play. Evans. It's a good delivery, but the defending is even better from Jordan Skelton. The vocal leader of this scruffy one Knoxville backline. He lunges for the header again, but it falls to the feet of Greenville. Castro swings a boot at it. He was offside. Skelton with some appreciation to Angelo Kelly for covering his back after he came to miss that header. Talking to really all the coaches around the league, they cannot speak highly enough of Jordan Skelton. Rick Wright said he's been a gentleman every time they've played against one another. Talked to Ian Cameron about him, the former South Georgia Tormenta coach, which is where Skelton started his professional career. And he said he's one of the rare players these days who takes vocal leadership and puts that at the forefront of his game. He holds his teammates accountable, and he is worth almost an extra player in their measure with the way that he lifts up his teammates and makes everybody around him better. He creates this aura around the back line in front of that Knoxville goal. You combine that with the tools that Sievert Haugley possess, the safe hands of Sean Lewis in goal. And you can understand why Knoxville has conceded the fewest goals in the league this season with 26, eyeing their 12th clean sheet of the league campaign. It is a formula for winning trophies. They are 7 minutes away from that now. And with the form that one Knoxville is in, on the verge of securing home field advantage for the entire playoffs, it would be very hard to bet against this team in November. They seem ready-made for knockout soccer. Evans for Anguiano. Jacqua spreads the play. Zakowski. Knoxville plugging all the gaps. It's a line of 5 in midfield now, with Gouling dropping in alongside Kelly and Johnson in that defensive midfield area, forming the shell around the back four we just spoke about. We've seen in a couple of recent matches Ian Fuller go to Donny Fernandez off the bench as a extra defender when games are winding down like this. See if he does the same. It's a slip on the throw from Jaheim Brown, but Zaragoza stabbing away. Knoxville just trying to take the air out of the ball. Glanced off the post. Left-footed from DN. And he is a bit lucky to get away without a yellow card there. Usually that is a pretty open and shut decision when you take a shot after the referee's whistle is gone, but Our goal scorer gets away with it. 71st minute tally from DN is the difference. Assisted by Rosamilia, his third helper of the league season. DN scoring his 10th goal. Full body challenge from Ajakwa. Not a fun man to run into. He takes down, and he's on a yellow. And that is an early shower for Ivan Ajakwa. Greenville will be down to 10 for the final 3 minutes. And if Knoxville weren't already in control, that really paints the picture. It's an unnecessary challenge. He was always going to be late. He's on a yellow card, hoping for sympathy, but Rodrigo Albuquerque had no choice. 2 clear yellow cards in the second half for Ivan Ajakwa, the first-year pro out of Furman, who sees his season end a little bit early. So Greenville now down to 10 men, and you can see Fricky trying to figure out how to adjust now because they had taken off a defender, brought on an extra attacker for the closing stages here, and Ajakwa really was the lone defensive presence in midfield that was left. He was keeping a spot in there so that Evans and Anquiano could have a little more freedom, so that will definitely change some things. And speaking of changes, as we see Gouling thankfully back to his feet, there will be 2 subs for 1 Knoxville. Danny Fernandez does eventually get the call off the bench. And James Thomas, what a moment for these two, brought on essentially to lift the trophy. They were members of the 2022 1 Knoxville team that won the division in USL League Two, made a playoff run that established 1 Knoxville as a winning club. Thomas fighting through injury this season. Ian Fuller says he's been Mr. Positive, a player that the young guys could lean on. He is an absolute fan favorite. Found out, in fact, that he won a Mario Kart tournament against some members of the Scruffs, the Knoxville supporters group, at a event a couple weeks ago. A player who is really ingrained in the community, coaches the youth teams as well, Thomas. He gets the final few minutes here to help 1 Knoxville see this out. Donnie Fernandez, every bit as essential to the story of this club. He's their 4th leading all-time goal scorer. He's made 91 appearances in a 1 Knoxville shirt, as Siobhan Marsh, or excuse me, Devin Benson, the one who's on the grounds. No reason to take a risk with a potential head injury here. They announced 4 minutes, but we may get a little bit more stoppage time. Rosamilia had his back turned. Definitely no intention in that challenge. So they may have to wait a few extra seconds beyond that 94-minute mark before the player's shields makes its way onto the pitch. Chattanooga still up 2-1 against Westchester, but assuming Knoxville hold on to win here, it won't matter. Even if Greenville somehow got a late goal down a man, Chattanooga's goal difference will be far inferior, with the two teams tied on wins at the end of the season. Greenville could still become the 5th team to take points off Knoxville at home this year. No small feat. Down a man. They send it into the area. Benton. Evans lofts it up to Castro. It's James Thomas doing the defending. A towering header from Skelton. There's Sentinel at the back. Kelly can't get it clear. Marsh wants the ball at his feet. And Lewis will take his time, soak in these precious moments in front of the home fans. It's not so often that you get to lift a trophy in front of your supporters on the final day. And Knoxville are about 60 seconds away from what would be their first trophy in club history. And with home field advantage throughout the playoffs, they will have eyes on a daring double. They just got to figure out who's taking the throw in first. Expert time wasting, if you ask me. They're good at every phase of the game. It's knocked on. It's Zaro Costas. And Rankenberg denies him at the death. Is that the offside flag that eventually went up? Belatedly, I believe so. Benton giving every last effort, and they do end up calling it on Zaro Costas after he had made the entire run. Did have that injury stoppage for Benton, so a few more seconds for Knoxville to manage. "20 straight games unbeaten at home. So far, all 14 in the league at Covenant Health Park this season without a blemish. 10 wins, 4 draws. They've won 5 on the bounce at home, and this would make it 6, the most important of them all. One last flurry of hope from Greenville. Even if they tie it here, Knoxville set to finish first. Connor Evans with the last gasp. It flashes past the post. And that is full time. Untouchable against Greenville. Unbeaten at home. And One Knoxville are undeniably your 2025 USL League One regular season champs. Babacar Dieng, the man to bring it home for One Knoxville, your 2025 USL League One Players' Shield winners. Knoxville win their first trophy in club history, and they will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs at Covenant Health Park, where they still have not lost in the 2025 regular season. We'll wrap things up after this. A momentous win in Knoxville.
Change in speed was amazing.
$65 a month, every month.
It's so fast. Believe me, you will see the difference.
I've told them when it comes, you better get it quick.
One Knoxville becoming the 5th different club to win the Players' Shield in USL League One history. Your man of the match is Babacar Dieng, presented by Peaceful Side Brewery's Club Light, brewed in the peaceful side of the Smoky Mountains. It's gonna be raucous tonight, though, as Dieng celebrates with his team and with the fans. Our play of the match, roll that beautiful play of the game, Bush's Beans, from Knoxville supporting Knoxville. It is none other than Dieng with his game-winning goal. How about Rosomilia dicing it up and putting it in the air for his striker to go attack. A brilliant header at the back post. Babacar Dieng, the man to meet the moment in this final match at home for One Knoxville this season, as they wrap up an undefeated home campaign, the first full season in USL League One history that a team has achieved that feat. But there is more of this story to write as we head into the playoffs. end. This is a match winner's goal right here. A trophy winning goal from Babacar Dieng, a man in fine form with his 5th goal in the past 7 matches. Greenville triumph. They mounted some pressure, especially in that second half. 14 shots in total, 53% possession in the end, but the stats don't really tell the story of what happened tonight. It was all about one Knoxville. They did enough to get the job done. They had the difference maker in DN. And in the end, they are able to lift the 2025 USL League One Players Shield at the end of a remarkable campaign. The other stats to know: 57 points in total, 16 wins on the season for one Knoxville, 0 losses at home. The story continues as we enter the playoffs, with Knoxville knowing that they will not have to leave Covenant Health Park for the rest of the year as long as they keep going. It's a story that started in 2022, and it results in their first trophy tonight. What a win for one Knoxville. It has been a pleasure to bring you this unforgettable season of League One soccer, and it has been my privilege to narrate some small part of the journey. None of it would be possible without our incredible crew, led tonight by Mauricio Rodriguez. Knoxville gets the final word in our 6-month story. Now it's down to 8 in the fight for playoff glory.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.